Darren here, and on today's episode of WoTC Academy, we are going to discuss passive scouting. Passive scouting is the less common method of scouting that you'll see today, mostly because active scouting has become the norm, the meta for light tanks, and sometimes the most profitable, but some could argue that. Anyway, quick refresher of what passive scouting is. Passive scouting is basically you sitting in a bush or a concealed position, scouting the enemy tanks for your team, and that's it. You do nothing. You don't shoot at people, you don't move around, you sit in a bush and you just spot tanks. That's pretty much what passive scouting is. So we're going to cover the best min-maxed crew for passive scouting, as well as some of the do's and don'ts of passive scouting, with some gameplay in the background. Well, let's take a look. So, real quick, I want to thank Flying Egg for the background footage of excellent demonstrations of passive scouting here. Hopefully you guys are able to take notes and see some of the things being demonstrated that we are talking about here. But we're going to jump into the crew setup for passive scouting, or even scouting in general here. Now, we were discussing the best crew setup. I originally wanted to have a fully geared passive setup, but we ended up settling on having a min-max setup that would allow you to pretty much have a little bit of the best of a little bit of everything. Because if you fully geared towards one thing, you'd be lacking in other areas. So that's not good as a light tank that's already arguably at a disadvantage. So the following skills are going to be, obviously, the following, and they're going to be in no particular order. So first we have is Born Leader, Rapid Loading, Steady Aim, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Muffled Shot, Camouflage Expertise, Run and Gun, and Snapshot. Now, again, you can set up the crew to suit whatever you want. If you want to minimize one thing and focus completely on like vision and camouflage, you can, but this is the optimum setup for your light tanks here that my review team has settled on here. Now, we're going to discuss some of the do's and don'ts. I apologize if we don't have a set structure of this, but I'm going to try my best to stay on topic here. So getting started here into the do's and don'ts, I'm going to try my best to stay on topic, so forgive me with this. But the first thing here, and you're about to see this right now on screen, is the first do is position your tank in the direction you are going to escape if you are spotted. This is very important because this way you are not messing around with having to reverse or turn around, and you're not wasting valuable time not escaping that you could be using escaping, because you just have to simply hit drive and go. So yes, that's the first one. The second one is make sure you make use of the bushes and the foliage here. The best way to do this is roll into the bush until it becomes transparent. That will allow you to spot tanks. If you absolutely need to fire, or you can fire and get away with it, pull back behind the bush about 15 meters, and when the bush becomes solid or opaque and you can't really see through it, and then fire, and this protects your camouflage value. And then roll back into the bush to spot the tank again. That's only if you can get away with it. The other do is you need to have patience. This is not the type of scouting method if you don't have the patience to sit in a bush for who knows how long spotting tanks for your team. Let your team do the work. You are helping the team plenty because you're risking it all sitting there in a bush, not defending yourself, not getting shots, but you're still contributing to the team. And you're also contributing towards your marks of excellence, because assisted damage counts towards marks of excellence. So don't feel like you absolutely have to shoot at everything just because. So yes, another thing with the bushes is try and make use of as much bushes as you can in between yourself and any tanks that you can shoot at and get away with. Got to stress get away with, because you got to be careful that any shot that you fire may give your position away, and you don't want that when you are passively scouting. Moving on to the don'ts here, and some of these don'ts are straight up the same as the do's. Do not shoot. This is like the biggest one here, and this may be the only don't, is do not shoot at anything unless absolutely necessary. And by absolutely necessary, I'm giving the situation that you may encounter of a enemy light tank is coming right at you, but you haven't been spotted yet. And if he spots you, you're going to get lit up by everything. This would best chance of survival would probably be get that first shot off on the light tank, increase your chances of survival by shooting and then immediately moving. He's got less health than you, hopefully, and that will hopefully give you a health advantage. Another don't is, again, don't get impatient. You got to keep that patience, and, you know, again, it's just the patience. You just cannot just shoot because you feel pressured. Otherwise, you might as well actively scout. Otherwise, that's really it for the do's and don'ts. There's not a whole lot because it's relatively an easy type of scouting method. It's just it requires a lot of discipline and patience to do it right, and a little bit of knowledge of what bushes are the best and what spots. But that would be a completely different topic for a video that probably will never happen for now. But again, hopefully you've seen some of the stuff demonstrated right now in the video. We're going to talk a little bit more, and as you can see here, Flying Egg is doing an excellent job here of literally sitting in this bush. It's transparent, as you can see, allowing him to spot, but his concealment is still up, and he's not firing. And he's just racking up the spot assist here. This is a highly disciplined type of scouting method. I cannot stress that enough. And you can see he is not shooting at anything. He's had plenty of opportunities to shoot at stuff, but he's not. Again, there's really not a whole lot for me to talk about when it comes to passive scouting, because this is passive scouting, what you are witnessing right here and in the previous clip. But other than that, I'm probably going to let the video finish out with the replay. You will see that he has made a couple mistakes where he kind of just does get fed up with sitting still the entire game, and he just fires a shot and goes to active scouting. That tends to be the trend with him, and you're about to see that's exactly what he does just now. And he immediately moves. Now, one last thing I would like to mention is that you do need to know when to transition out of passive scouting. That is whenever you decide that it is time to do that, but there are two main situations in which you will have to get your gun in the fight. That is at the end of the game when it's time for a cleanup operation and tanks are running away or trying to hide or anything like that. That's when you want to get out of passive scouting and go to active scouting. And of course, the other one that you really do need to consider is keeping an eye on your team's HP pool. If you start noticing that your team is losing and or their health is starting to go down and become a disadvantage, or they're becoming a liability, that is another time when you need to get your gun into the fight and start trying to pick up some of the slack that your team may not be able to do themselves. But other than that, that's pretty much it for this video. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe. But until next time, this has been Darren of WoTC Academy.